In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is my husband Joe.
Hello.
Hello. Joe's laughing right now because I am a bit lispy, which I need to apologise for.
Why are you a bit lispy?
Because I am wearing braces on my teeth, which
oh my God.
I know, which I have been wanting to do for 20 years probably. Mm-hmm. So I've always hated my teeth. But I'm really struggling to talk. I'm just getting used to this. I've hated my teeth ever since I was a teenager. I used to get teased for having big, goofy, like, mousy horse teeth. And so I've always been really self-conscious about them. And I can't stand my bottom teeth because they're such a crooked mess. My mouth's very crowded.
Mm-hmm. Very small face.
Very small, tiny pinhead. And so, yeah, and it's really bad because all I see when I see a video of myself, all I see is my awful teeth. And now you guys are going to go and watch videos of me and be like, oh, yeah. And, you know, to most people, it's not noticeable.
It's completely not noticeable.
No, but that doesn't matter because I see it and I don't like it. And also it makes it difficult to clean them well because they're so crowded at the bottom that, you know. So anyway, I went and booked an appointment a few months ago and had a chat with them. I was thinking, oh, you know, how much is it going to be? And I was pleasantly surprised to find that it was less than $3,000. Mm-hmm. And you could pay over 12 months interest-free credit. Actually, I think you could pay over 2 years, but I chose 12 months because I didn't want it hanging over me. And so, yeah, and I had them fitted today and my mouth hurts and I feel weird. And it was just bizarre because they have to file some of the enamel off your teeth, so like 0.1 millimeters. Mm-hmm. So that they break the contact and so that your teeth can actually move. And I was expecting that to be horrific and painful. And it was really good from start to finish. The guy, his name is Saab at Willow Dentistry in Hereford. And he was just brilliant. Hi, Saab. Those guys are just fantastic and couldn't have made me feel more comfortable. Didn't push me to do anything more expensive than I needed. Just awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool. And the system itself is fascinating. It's because I had braces when, and you know, what do you think when you think of braces?
Yeah, you think of those like
train tracks,
train tracky metal things stuck to the front of your teeth, which is not what you've got.
It's not what I've got. What I have. Oh, also they did a digital scan of my mouth, which
3D scan of the inside of your head,
which was incredible. And then they sent me like a virtual reality thing where we could watch the teeth move, and it was really cool, wasn't it? Yeah. So I could see what they're going to look like when they're done, which is very exciting. But yeah, what I've got is clear plastic moulds of my teeth. I've got 20 of them. I have to change them out. Well, I have to move on to the next one after 2 weeks. And it just gradually shifts everything around, and it's incredible. It's really cool. Like. Technology-wise, really, really cool. But you wouldn't know that I was wearing them from even quite close up, would you?
No.
Unless you knew.
Unless you're like looking into your mouth.
Which he is now doing. It's a bit weird. So that's why my speech is a little bit slurred. I'm not drunk.
Could be soon, though.
Could be soon. Because we're drinking gin and tonic. Cheers.
Cheers.
Which I probably shouldn't be doing with these in. Because I'm not allowed to eat in them or anything. So I'm probably going to lose weight as well because I'm quite lazy and it's a bit of a faff. But this gin is delicious. It's Japanese gin. It's a birthday gift from my cousin Heather. Thank you, Heather. And it's called Roku gin. It's in a beautiful hexagonal bottle with beautiful, what do you call that, embossing on the bottle? Yeah. And it includes, so it says it includes 6 Japanese botanicals that provide a whistle-stop tour of the 4 seasons. These include sakura leaf and sakura flower for spring, sencha tea and gyokuro tea for summer. I really apologise to people who speak Japanese for my pronunciation. Sansho pepper for autumn and yuzu peel for winter. Plus traditional botanicals.
And some juniper and orange peel and whatnot.
Yeah, it's absolutely delicious.
It's very nice.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Chin chin. Right, I'm really hungry, so that's probably all the gin that I'm going to drink. And, right, so, yeah, I I was going to dive straight into beta readers, but I just wanted to give you a quick update on my trapeze training, and it is relevant because if you're writing a book or creating a new thing or any kind of a project, I just wanted to point out that there will be tears and there will be pain and you will want to give up and you'll start to see only the badness, won't you, Joe?
You will start to only see the badness.
Because what happened the other night, I did a run through and Ed, my trapeze coach...
So you're practicing for a competition, aren't you?
I'm practicing for a competition on May the 19th. And I constantly compare myself to other people, as we all do, because that's what we do. And so I'm never good enough. My routine isn't quite good enough yet, but I've got another week and a bit, so that's fine. And I did a run through the other night, and Ed was so delighted with my performance. And he was just like, when did you suddenly fit 12 weeks worth of training into like 2 days? And so I was really, really chuffed. And I came home buzzing, didn't I?
Yeah, you were really chuffed. Really pleased.
And I said I felt like I had a decent chance of getting through the auditions. And then what happened when we watched the video?
Well, then you watched it and you, because you know your routine backwards, found all of the little details that were not absolutely perfect that nobody else could notice because they wouldn't know quite what you were supposed to be doing. All you saw were the bad bits.
Yeah, and I was really upset and I wish I hadn't watched that video because I was really buzzing. And I told Ed about that today and he was just like, he looked absolutely devastated when I told him that I was really upset. And he was just like, "That, what? And I think it's because I know it could be much better. And so which is good, I want to keep making it better. I strive for perfection. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that if you are doing anything big, whether it's writing a book or creating a product, then just keep going and really try not to focus just on the bad stuff.
Have you ever put skirting boards up?
Me? No.
Because it's a weird process where you're on your hands and knees 6 inches away from something, looking at it in very great detail, filling in tiny gaps and noticing that, 45-degree angles aren't quite right and maybe your wall's not as straight as you thought and your corners aren't as nice, and you get really engrossed in the detail of all of this stuff really close up. And you think it's not good. You're like, oh, Jesus, these skirting boards are a nightmare. I hate doing skirting boards. What a faff. And then you walk out of the room, have a cup of tea, and you walk back into the room and there's skirting boards in there. And they're great. They're like everybody else's skirting boards. They're perfect. They're totally adequate. Do the job. Great. And the only reason you see all of the bad bits is because you're on your hands and knees and you're right up close to it and the skirting board's inches from your face.
Yeah. And
I think it's worth kind of remembering that nobody is going to be looking at your stuff, whatever it may be.
That closely. That's really good advice. I think we should probably end the podcast there.
Yeah. Cool. More gin.
Right, should we get on to what we're actually going to be talking about today?
What are we actually talking about today?
Well, it is all relevant because it's all about criticism. This is self-criticism. But this is all about beta readers. We promised last week that we would talk about beta readers this week. And so the title... I'm
glad we managed to talk for 8 minutes on something that wasn't beta readers because I'm not sure I can talk for beta readers about 20 minutes.
How much gin have you had? Have you got braces as well?
I don't know what just happened.
So, beta readers. I did not have beta readers for my first book.
Right.
My book would have been better if I had.
Yeah.
So, do you need beta readers? No.
Doesn't have to happen.
Doesn't have to happen. Is it a good idea?
Yes.
Absolutely, it is a good idea. So I just wanted to run through a little bit of what it is, what it isn't, how to do it, and a few of the questions that you need to ask people.
And are we going to use beta readers purely in a book writing sense, or is a beta reader a concept for products and services and other things that you might be doing with your business life?
Well, beta comes from software development, doesn't it? Beta testing.
Beta testing, yeah.
That's basically what we're doing. We're beta testing our books, we're beta testing our products, we're beta testing our new services. So yeah, you don't have to be writing a book to get your beta testers in at all. And I would recommend that you don't. I am currently a beta tester for one of my superheroes who's doing a little really awesome cartooning thing, actually.
Nice.
And I'm a terrible person because I haven't done it for a few days. So I need to do that. But yeah, beta testing, whatever new thing that you are putting out there, get beta testers for it, because if nothing else, it will prevent you putting a lot of time and effort into something that people just don't want or that doesn't work for people.
Sure.
So it's super important. So I knew that my book was needed because people had already told me. So the purpose of my beta readers was not to say this, yes, this is a good idea. The purpose of my beta readers was to basically help me make it better, really. So what it isn't, it's beta reading is not a free editing and proofreading service.
Sure.
That's not the point of this. You don't need to pay an editor either. It's better if you do. I'm not going to because I kind of do this, for a living. But if you can,
most people should have an editor.
Most people should have an editor, yeah. But this is not editing. This is there's a certain amount of structural editing that will go on, or suggestions and things, but this is not editing and it's not proofreading. Again, people love to point out typos, so they will definitely point out your typos and grammatical weirdos, which is great.
Yes.
But it's not a substitute for paying a professional proofreader, and that's something that I am going to do. I'm going to get somebody to proofread it. But what is it? Okay, so beta readers will give you a really good steer from your ideal readers about whether or not you're on the right track. Does your book or product work? If it does work, what doesn't work about it, if anything, what they love, what they don't love, what they understand and what they don't understand. And a really good example of that, just from today, actually, one of my beta readers got in touch and said the only mild issue was confusion over time in the first 3 paragraphs of your reason why. You start the second paragraph with, when I wrote my first book, so I read everything that came after it to be about the writing of that book, and I got more confused as I read on. I didn't get that you were describing the origin of this book until I analysed it in writing this comment. It now reads perfectly when I understand the point you were trying to make, but it didn't when I first encountered it. That's the kind of thing that's absolutely invaluable, because you know exactly what you mean in your head when you write something or create something. Does not mean other people do.
And every time you subsequently read it, it will make perfect sense to you.
Yes, because you know exactly what you were trying to say. So that kind of feedback that I got from John, hi John, thank you so much, is super, super valuable, because that's not something that I almost certainly wouldn't pick that up on my own.
No.
And
because to you, that chunk of text would make perfect sense.
Yeah, of course it does, because I wrote it and I know what I was trying to say. It's why you can't proofread your own shit as well. So that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing you want from your beta readers.
Sure.
That kind of feedback. But there's a lot of other stuff that they can help you with as well, and we'll come to that shortly. So I suppose we should talk a little bit about how to build your beta team.
So yeah, who's your beta reader? How do you find a beta tester? Who are these people, and what the hell are they doing it for?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'm assuming that our listeners are business owners and they're going to be writing books about their business. I'm not talking about fiction here, but a lot of the rules apply.
If you're not a business owner and you're listening to this podcast and you've listened to lots of this podcast, please email us and tell us why.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
So she loved it when we shout out. Jen's awesome. Totally derailed by
who's a beta reader and why are they doing it?
Okay, yeah. Beta readers are your ideal readers. They're the people who you want to buy this book and get the most out of it. So you should have done an avatar exercise for your ideal kind of reader. That's the kind of person you want. So I built my beta team from people who are already in my world, who already like me. So most of my superheroes are beta readers for me. A bunch of people on my email list who I have, who I know of because they've interacted with me through my emails and that kind of thing. A couple of people who I know are outside of business, but all of them are the right kind of people.
They're all sort of target market.
Yes.
Do you think you've skewed your beta testing results by asking people who stick around and like you?
Maybe, but I also know that particularly people like John H, whose feedback we just read, he is incredibly honest, painfully so sometimes.
Hi, John.
In the best possible way, and I cannot even tell you how grateful I am to him for his help.
He's not going to sugarcoat it.
He is not going to sugarcoat it. Some people might, but you know what? I trust the people in, certainly my superheroes, because I know them quite well. I trust them to tell me the truth, and I trust them also to know that I am not going to be upset by this. They know that I'm going to spend 5 minutes being like, oh, everything's shit, and then I'm going to pull my big girl pants on and go, you know what? I'm going to fix this because this is why I asked people for it.
Yeah.
So I trust them not to sugarcoat it. Yeah, there's going to be a certain amount of bias because we can't do anything. The very nature of biases is that we don't know about them.
I guess you can go and find some beta testers that didn't know you.
I do have a few people on my list who, who do know me through my emails, but who I don't really know very well. And I'm profoundly grateful to those people as well, because that's amazing.
It's quite a big ask, isn't it?
It's a big ask, yeah. So yeah, that's there is always that risk, but I think if you have a good relationship with the people that are in your world, then you can trust them and they can trust you. To be honest. Yeah, you kind of, and it would be great to be able to get total strangers who are my ideal readers.
So if I was a garage mechanic and I was going to launch my maintained for you service that we've talked about a few times, that somebody should really just contact us and do that for us, please.
Yeah.
Tell them about your MOT.
My hilarious
Vicky's
MOT
hilarious
pass.
MOT. How late was your MOT?
Shut up.
How overdue was it?
Look, I might get in trouble. Shush.
It's all fine now. It's fixed.
It's legal. My car is legal. Carry on.
So, I mean, okay, I'm a garage owner and I've got this service. I mean, would you advocate me doing like an introductory offer or saying, I'm trying to launch this product. I'd like the first 10 people to, provide feedback for a 30% discount or something. Could you do that kind of stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. And normally I'm not a big fan of giving discounts, but when it comes to beta testing stuff, I've got no problem with that at all. And that's exactly what I've done for a couple of things that I've launched. I had an introductory offer for my superheroes when I first launched that because I didn't know how it was going to work. I'd never done this before. It might have been total shit.
And the first 3 people aren't going to get the benefit of a big group of support.
They're not,
because
no.
There isn't a big group yet.
No, they're not. And I did the same thing with my course as well. That was less expensive when I first launched it than it,
Subsequently became.
Than it subsequently became. And that's fine. There is nothing wrong with doing that at all. With books, because books are relatively low monetary value, I've done other stuff instead. It's like, you get a free preview copy, which is totally unique. Nobody else is going to have anything like that. And a few bits and pieces that other people won't get access to as well. But I think actually people just want to help. I've been a beta reader for other people and I haven't asked for anything in return because if people want to be part of something like that and help you, then they often, well, that's not to say that they're not going to get rewarded because, I've got a little plan up my sleeve. But yeah, absolutely. If you've got a product or a service and you're launching a brand new thing and you want to beta test it, yeah, hand it out for less than you would otherwise.
Yeah, tell people it's a trial.
Yeah. And tell them that part of the trade-off for that discount is that you're expecting them to give you feedback.
I'm going to come after you for feedback.
Yeah, and people love telling you what they think. They really do. So it's not going to be difficult to get information out of people.
Do you find that everybody who says yes responds? What's your conversion rate like?
I don't know yet because it's still with them. I mean, by the time this goes out, the deadline will have passed, so I will be able to. I'm going to try and look into the future. I think there are a few people who said that they would be beta readers and who I've sent a book to that I suspect won't get back to me.
Okay.
But I've already had...
You've had loads of feedback.
I've already had... I'm getting some in dribs and drabs, which is great. And I've had a few people send me their full feedback as well, which is great. And everybody else knows that it's... I've asked for it by the end of this week, basically. So next week I want to be able to start editing.
Cool.
Again, I'm not expecting everybody to do it, and that's fine. Again, I'm not going to be pissy with people because they're not giving up their time for free for me.
Sure.
It's a privilege that people would say that they would help me in the first place.
Yeah.
I really hope that everybody will get back to me, but don't expect everybody to.
I wouldn't have thought so. No. You're going to get a dropout rate, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because life gets in the way. Life genuinely gets in the way.
And it's not that they can't be bothered, and it's not that they don't want to. It's that they've got other shit going on.
Unexpected things happen. That's fine.
So don't expect everybody to come back with feedback, and for goodness sake, don't be pissy with people if they don't. Because I've said repeatedly, I've got a Facebook group for everybody, I've said repeatedly, if you can't do this, please don't fret about it because it's a big deal to me, but it's not that big a deal to them. So it's fine. So who to include really? So your ideal readers, basically, people that...
The avatar, the people you've identified.
Yeah, be really careful about getting beta readers who are not in your avatar because they are going to have a different perspective on things and their feedback may not be as helpful as other people's. So, and it's really important to bear that in mind because, and you'll be able to tell as well because there'll be certain things that your ideal readers will say that they'll probably a few of them will say or have similar ideas about. And if you get somebody who says something wildly different and you let that skew your product or service or book, and they're not your ideal reader or your ideal client, that can be a real problem.
Your mum is lovely, but she shouldn't be a beta tester.
Unless what you're selling is, aimed at your mum as an ideal reader.
Some weird thing you put in the sink for cleaning glasses or whatever. Yes. Do you remember that Christmas? Jeepers.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum.
So also be really careful about including other writers as your beta readers if you're writing a book, because I love writers, obviously. I am a writer. But what writers have a tendency to do, and I included myself in this, is we have a tendency to criticise other people's writing styles. And that's not very helpful, because what that means is I wouldn't have written it like that. And the answer to that is, so what? It's so if they've got a legitimate place, like, this didn't make sense, I think this could fit better here, blah, blah, blah. That's great. As soon as the feedback starts coming back in, I'd choose this word or that word or the other word, that's the feedback you can ignore, because that's a stylistic thing. And it's if you start listening to other people's feedback on that, you're going to lose your voice.
Yeah. You're going to write it in their voice, or there's going to be a chunk of it that sounds like somebody else has said it. Yeah,
so be really... I mean, if your ideal reader is other writers, then you're stuffed, basically. No, I'm kidding. But you just do need to take that kind of feedback with a bit of a pinch of salt, because... Yeah. We writers love to criticise other people's writing styles, and that's not always the most helpful thing in the world. So just be a bit aware of that. Okay, so a couple of other things. I think we're going to leave a cliffhanger for next week as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we're at 21 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, what not to do? What should people not do, Joe, when they're sending their book to beta readers?
Oh, don't ask rubbish questions like, how would you like my book?
What do you think of this?
Yeah. It's good, isn't it? Here's my book. What do you reckon? This
goes for your product or service as well.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Because how difficult is it to answer that question? I mean, what are you going to say? Either I like it or I don't like it.
It was pretty good. I'd give it a solid, 8 out of 10.
Which you're either going to get I really like it or I really don't like it, neither of which are useful. So if you're going to send your book to your beta readers, and I hope you do, because it's not just really useful, it's all the feels. You'll get all the feels, because people will tell you how much they love it, and it's just...
That's nice.
Yeah, I've had feedback that's just made me cry already, in a good way, not in a bad way. In a good way.
The crying in a bad way feedback is coming at the end of the week.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I'm sure nobody will make me cry in a bad way. So what you want to do is exactly what I did, which is send a letter with your book.
That's amazing.
I know.
You did it exactly right.
I know.
Do you think?
I know.
Did you ask all the right questions?
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? So this, as always, I kind of disclaimer everything I say with, this is not the only way to do things. My way is not the one true way. I'm not claiming to be like God or anything.
It's just a way that's worked and seems to make sense.
Do you remember our conversation last night about names for kids? Because we were watching Lucifer, a TV show on Amazon, and one of the characters was called God Johnson, and I was like, that's such a great name, we should have a baby and call it God. And you were really against that idea.
I think it's a bad idea.
I think you're a bad idea.
I'm sorry. I was at school with a kid called Gabriel Brocklesby, which, that's a tough upbringing.
That sounds like the name of a kid that should have been at my school. I went to private school.
He was not.
I was a working class kid at a private school. Ask me about that sometime. So what I did was and that makes me sound really, 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 really ungrateful. It was a really good opportunity, and there's a whole story behind that doesn't...
And it all went horribly wrong.
It didn't all go horribly... Oh, how very dare you?
Well, here we are, recording podcasts. What kind of a living is that, eh?
Pretty good one, actually. What I did was I sent out my beta copy of my book, and I sent it out as a wirebound copy, not in the final format. Mm-hmm. I didn't send it out as like a proper bound book.
So was that a cost thing, or was that like a deliberate...
It was a deliberate thing.
Don't think about the formatting type.
It was a deliberate don't think about the formatting, and also because I thought it would be easier for people to read it and make notes on it if it lay flat.
Alright, kind of get in there with a highlighter pen and stuff.
Exactly. And a few people have said, I don't want to write on your book. Is it okay can I have the PDF? And I was like, of course you can, that's fine. So I sent a letter with it anyway, a thank you letter, and the headline, I'll read a bit of it. Thank you so much. Happy reading. Your exclusive limited edition... Do you get to see sales? Your exclusive limited edition draft of How the Hell Do You Write a Book is enclosed, and I cannot wait to hear what you think of it. It's true. Aloha. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for agreeing to read my new book and give me helpful feedback. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. If you imagine a small child exploding with excitement as she stares at her wrapped presents, you'll have some idea of how I'm feeling right now. Second, I've made it a little easier for you than simply saying, here, read this and tell me what you think, tar. So below, I've included a bunch of questions I would like you to consider as you read through the book. I don't mind how you give me the feedback, whatever is easiest for you, but if it helps, here are a couple of ideas. 1. Use a highlighter and coloured pens to jot notes on the book itself, then scan or photograph and send me the images. 2. Note the page number and simply create a document with your notes. 3. Make a video of your feedback. 4. Make notes on the PDF version of this book and ping it to me via email at vicky@vickyfraser.com. And I've had people do all of those things so far, which is really cool because I really wanted to make it very easy for people.
Yes, you can't ask people for a favour and then prescribe the way they do it.
Yeah.
That's a bit tough.
It is a bit tough. So the video feedback is particularly useful because you lose a lot of communication nuance in writing, and so it's really good to see. Like a couple of times I've watched people's video feedback and I've seen people's faces light up, and I've seen like the frowny face appear, and that's really useful because it gives me more of an insight into how they're receiving what I've written. So that's really cool. And then I went on to ask a whole bunch of questions.
There's a lot of questions.
18 of them, in fact. So, and that sounds like a lot, but actually, I think it's not that many because
just as an example, there's a question: were any details repeated or redundant?
Yes, and a couple of times people have said, "You said this earlier on in two things actually that people picked up on that I've repeated from earlier chapters."
Yeah,
that's cool. Two separate people have said so far, so that's really really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, hi Noodle.
Hello, Noodle.
He's staring up at the bookcase like he's about to climb it.
Yeah.
So I thought we could next week maybe run through some of the questions that we asked that might be helpful for people if they're wondering what to ask to get good feedback.
Yeah,
because I think pretty sure we'll run out of time.
Yeah, we're like 26 minutes in, 27.
So come back next week and you can find out what questions I asked my beta readers. And also, we'll probably be able to talk about the kind of responses that I got. Oh, that's going to be a good episode.
How much you cried.
How much I cried. No, that's going to be a really good episode because one of the things that I wanted to do was take people along this journey with me. And so, yeah, I can kind of run through the questions. And then we can go through some of the feedback that I've had as well and how I'm using it. Stuff that I'm listening to, stuff I'm not, and why.
Yeah.
So...
Cool.
So yeah, come back next week and you can find out all about that.
those words, that thing.
Yeah, next week. Coming up next week. Oh, so takeaway. What's the takeaway, Joe?
Okay, so the takeaway would be build a team of beta testers for your book, product, service, or whatever it is, and make them a group of people who are your ideal customer.
Yeah, and just on a final note, something I forgot to say, another real good benefit of building this beta team is that you will have a small-ish, so anywhere between like 20 and a couple of hundred people is plenty. A couple of hundred people is a lot.
Yeah, how many you got?
I've got 40.
40?
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is a nice number. But all of those 40 people have been really involved in the making of my book. So they're going to be people who are going to want to share my book with people, talk about it, all the rest of it. Because that's one of the things I've asked people to do when it's published.
Have you got a hashtag?
I will have a hashtag. I haven't done as much promotion on social media stuff as I could have done, but I'm not really a social media girl. So, there is that. There are other ways to do this stuff. And I do it in videos and podcasts and emails.
It's fairly social. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, you will build this really cool team of people. Basically, next week, you'll find out the questions I asked, the feedback I got. I feel like I've lost my thread now.
What you've done about it. Right, call to action.
Yeah, so if you want to write your own book and you're thinking, gosh, what the hell could I write about? I don't know what idea I could have. I don't even know where to start. You need to get yourself to Portugal for Breaking Bread.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to this. When is it?
It's the end of July. It's the 28th of July, I think. It's me and Misty, who is my sister from another Mister. Hi, Misty.
Hi, Misty.
Berto, who is her fiance.
Hi, Berto.
Hi, Berto. Oh, Joe and Berto have such bromance. And Joe and Berto are going to be our handsome pit crew.
Yay.
And we have, at the time of recording, only 3 spaces left.
3 whole spaces.
3 spaces left. So, if you would like a slot, you need to go and look at breakingbreadmastermind.co. No, oh my god, it's in the show notes. It's in the show notes. Hang on, breakingbreadmastermind.com.
All one word.
All one word. Breakingbreadmastermind singular.com, and you can find out all about what went on in Toronto, which is where the very first International Breaking Bread Mastermind was held.
Mm-hmm.
You can find out what happened in Manchester, which is where the Yorkshire, which is where the second one was held. You can find out what happened in sunny San Diego, which was fabulous, for the third one. And this fourth one is happening in Portugal, Foz do Radio, to be precise. And we would love to see you there. There's only going to be 8 people. Or eight participants. There'll be more people. There's
going to be some wine. There's going to be some beaches. There's going to be some ports. There's going to be some really interesting people to meet and talk to and learn things from. It's going to be, up close and personal. Really nice. Yeah. Really nice.
One of the people who is coming is one of my favourite people in the world, Teresa. Hi, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Pretty much, one of my best clients. Love her to bits. She is an astonishing woman, really inspirational. She has just bought, I think I don't even know how many law firms she owns now, but she's just finished completion on, I think it's like the 9th.
She's doing all right.
She is amazing. Like, women in business, really inspirational. And she's just awesome anyway, isn't she?
Yeah.
Beautiful person. So Teresa's going to be there. A bunch of other people are going to be there. Kim is going to be there. Oh, and, proper, genuine A-list copywriter who has, one of the big girls, plays with the big boys and kicks their asses most of the time. She's going to be there. Ray runs an incredibly successful telescope business in Toronto,
Hi, Ray.
Canada. Hi, Ray. So there's going to be some incredible people there. And by the way, don't let that put you off. Don't let that make you think, if I don't earn like bazillions of pounds, it's not for me. It totally is.
This is not about making money. This is about meeting people, learning stuff, and making some really good connections.
Yes,
this is good fun stuff.
We've kept the ticket price low. It's £1,500, and that includes all your accommodation and all your meals. 3 nights accommodation. You have to get yourself there, but flights to Portugal are cheap. And we will look after you while you're there. That's your job, isn't it, Joe? That's the pit crew's job.
Pit crew, short shorts,
hairy chests. It's going to be amazing. We're not even kidding about that. They've got a costume. It's like RuPaul's Drag Race. It's not.
Without the fake eyelashes.
But it will be from now on. So yeah, and if you're thinking, I'd love to come, it's a lot of money all in one go, we'll put together a payment plan for you. No problem. Yeah. Just email me, Vicky@VickyFraser.com. We would love to have you there, because I cannot tell you what a difference it can make to your business to take a few days out, get out of your normal space, and get a few amazing brains together to
help sort you out.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Well, finally, if you like this podcast, please go and rate us and review us. 5 stars, please.
5 stars.
And share us with your friends. And we'll be back same time next week to talk about the questions that I asked my beta readers and the feedback that I got.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
No worries.
And hopefully I'll be a bit less lispy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues. Tell your friends. Send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.